What's up, people? You're listening and watching the RAPS Talk podcast presented by HipHoopJunkies.com and HoopHeadsNorth.com. Hoops Talk out of Halifax. This is episode 81. My name is Romeo Aquino. I have with me
Jean-Francois. What's up?
And we also have
Yui the North Sampang.
Yui the North Sampang. Yui was on Mr. D this week. Your Mr. D debut.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It was pretty good.
How many months were you waiting for this to premiere, Mr. Sampang?
We filmed it in July, on a nice sunny day in July at Citadel High.
Awesome.
I wasn't expecting it because we were just watching it, and I remember you mentioned it before, but I thought it was going to be like kind of midway through.
I thought it was going to be February. It took me by surprise too. And then just a couple buddies started texting me saying that it was on. But then, do you have Bell? Are you on Bell or?
Not me. No.
Yeah, I have Bell Satellite.
Yeah, you have Bell where they have that restart option now. So if you weren't tuned into it, then you can just restart the show.
Yeah, I think that's on fiber op. I don't have that.
Okay, on the fiber op, yeah, but you still have to. You can't start recording or anything in the middle. You can just restart it and watch it as a full program. So when somebody told me about that I was on, I was like, okay, I'll do restart. And then I did restart, but once it starts, you can't do anything with it. Like, you can't fast forward through commercials or anything. So then I didn't really know how that worked because I didn't really use the option that much. So then I pressed exit, and then all of a sudden I was exited out and back to live TV with like 2 minutes left in the show. So I couldn't see. Like, whoops. So
watch it online, I guess.
Yeah, I did end up seeing it. Yeah,
good.
Online.
Yeah. No, it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. Sean, what's going on with you? How's coaching?
It's been busy, but it's rewarding. You know, it's always nice to see progression of the kids from the beginning of the season to the end of the season. So, lots of work and a lot of teaching this year. A lot of brand new kids to the game. Specifically on the basketball side. Soccer side's been pretty stable, which is great. But another month left, end of season jamboree at the end of February, and then kind of getting ready for the summer soccer season. So it's winter soccer, winter and fall basketball, and then a little bit of a break, and then getting right into it again.
Yeah, you can't talk about summer. Can't talk about summer yet. We still got a storm coming. Coming through tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. We can think about it. But it's going to be a ways away for sure.
Yeah. So let's get into the Raptors. They just finished their game against the Knicks. It was on TNT, but it was also on TSN. But 10 wins in a row for the Toronto Raptors, a franchise record. It's been a good for the Raptors, especially around kind of like this All-Star time, and like they announced tonight, DeMar DeRozan was selected to the All-Star reserves. We can also touch base about Kyle Lowry being voted in as a starter, but this is the fresh news. What did you guys think about DeMar being selected? That was pretty much a lock, didn't you think? Like, did you guys have any doubts?
There's always a sliver of doubt in that fact that they'll mess it up, but there's no doubt that he deserved it. That's for sure.
Yeah, there's really more of a focus from the coaches and everything these days about coming from winning teams, and the fact that they're second in the East is huge for him, and the fact that Lowry's already in. Like, everybody always kind of talks about them as the duo that they are, so it makes sense for both of them to be there.
Yeah.
A cool fact that I found out tonight by Josh Lewenberg of the TSN beat writer for the Raptors, TSN radio beat writer. And I guess he does TSN.ca as well, actually, but he indicated that their research team listed that the Toronto Raptors backcourt of DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry, they're the first backcourt from a host city All-Star team, to be in the All-Star game since 1972, which was Jerry West and Gail Goodrich of the Los Angeles Lakers. So it's been that long since a host city has had two guards from the same team when they hosted the All-Star game. Pretty crazy.
It's been a long time because you know that by one guy, Jerry West, was the logo, and the other guy's named Gale.
That too.
How many more guys are named Gale these days?
Not many.
Yeah, no, but I mean, definitely, it's good because it's good to see that both the guys are both in the game because I mean, one guy started a couple years ago with DeMar and then last year with Lowry. So now it's nice that the game's in Toronto, and the two of the guys will be playing the game, so it should be good. And it's too bad though the halftime act at the All-Star game is going to be Sting and not Drake. How is it not Drake?
I think Drake just wants to enjoy the parties. I don't know. Like, I'm not sure how that decision was, reached. I know that Sting and like Peter Gabriel are going to be in town right around that time doing concerts and stuff. So I'm not sure if that had part to do with the decision, but interesting. I mean, the NBA is usually the league that goes more with the younger demographic musical acts for their performances. So that was surprising, to say the least. It was surprising.
Who was the last year? I can't remember. I don't know if you guys remember.
2015 New York.
Oh, was it Christina Aguilera? Or no,
there was a bunch of them. Bunch of people, just kind of like it was in New Orleans, if I remember correctly, because New Orleans was like Diddy and Pharrell was the main person, but then he brought out Diddy and he brought out Busta Rhymes.
Yeah.
A bunch of cats. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember last year was I know in the intros it was Christina Aguilera and then she brought out Nas.
Yes.
But I don't think that was
for the intros, right?
Yeah, but she wasn't the halftime, I don't think, right?
No, I don't recall right off the top of my head.
Me neither. But yeah.
But it was it was a younger demographic artist for sure.
For sure. So it's congrats to DeMar making the team, and obviously Kyle Lowry, well deserving to be a starter for the All-Star game. Does that surprise you at all that he got voted in? Did you think it was going to be someone else at the start?
No, because the North came through. It could have potentially been someone else had Kyrie Irving been healthy. He might have got more votes than Lowry. But Lowry has benefited from not only his own personal good play, but last year it was similar with Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade was injured and not really playing his greatest basketball, and so the late surge of the votes pushed him over the top past Dwayne Wade, and similarly that happened again with the late weekend push to get him over the top past Kyrie Irving as well. And obviously Kyrie only had played like 12 games at that point.
Yeah, I think in that sense too, it's like the fans are getting a little more knowledgeable, and that Kyrie's popular, but so is Lowry. But one guy's been working his ass off all year, and the other guy's barely played.
Right.
Kyrie's played well, but not to Lowry's level in terms of sample size for this much of the year. So.
Right. Great point.
Kobe's another story, but I mean,
yeah, but
he's put in 20 years, so.
One of the top 5, top 10 players of all time.
Exactly.
He's got to get his final show.
I mean, it is kind of neat that it was like this year was the 10-year anniversary. 10-year anniversary of his 81-point game, and he's going to be playing his final All-Star game in Toronto. So. I mean, there's some significance to that. So, I mean, that should be fun. But yeah, so DeMar, Kyle Lowry, and you would think with the whole coaching change in Cleveland that somehow Coach Casey could have been like the coach for the Eastern Conference All Stars, but it looks like it's going to be. What's that?
Should have been, yep.
Yeah, but it looks like the league is going to go with Tyronn Lue as the head coach. What were your guys' thoughts when you saw that? I mean, I guess it is kind of a tricky situation.
I mean, it's the rules because it's the team who's in first place. The only other caveat is that you can't coached the All-Star team 2 years in a row. So that's why the representative from Golden State, whether it would have been, I mean, obviously, and they didn't even want to give the wins to Luke Walton. So I'm not even sure that even if Kerr hadn't come back, if Luke Walton was still the head coach for Golden State, if they would have let him coach. I'm not even sure how that would have worked. So on the West side, obviously, it's Popovich now. So, yeah, it's just there should be some sort of other rule kind of written in there. But, you know, yeah, an odd situation to say the least. You fire a coach, he's in first place, 30 wins, 11 losses, and he gets the can. Like, it's interesting how that all went down.
Yeah, so for the rule, is it the same coach or the same team can't have their coach?
It's the same, yeah, the same, well, it's the same coach,
Like
but I never got clarification as to whether or not Luke Walton would have been able to coach had Kerr not come back. Like, as you know, they weren't going to give Luke Walton credit for any of the wins. So if they're going to shaft him on every single win, even though he's the head coach, there's nothing to make me think that they wouldn't screw him on him not being able to coach the All-Star team as well, right? So I don't know. I never got clarification on that from anybody, so I'm not sure what would have happened there. But, you know, at the end of the day, Pop is going to coach, so.
Yeah, it's like, too, like, you can put in, for the whole Blatt situation, you could put in some kind of, you know, extra rule there or stipulation, but at the same time, what team fires their coach when they're in first place?
And would he want to come
right
back
before the
he's fired? But oh no, you can still coach the All-Star team.
You know, because the vibe was weird in the locker room.
Yeah. No. If you read Adrian Wojnarowski's piece, I think that pretty much says it all.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Raptors for a bit. 10 wins in a row. What do you guys have? I mean, the 10th win coming against the Knicks, but what's kind of been going right for Toronto for this past month and a half?
I mean, they're committing to the defensive side of the basketball. You know, that the defensive end of the floor. They're locked in there. You know, the first few games of the streak, they were scoring a ton of points, and they were also allowing a lot of points. And they kind of ratcheted it down, and they got, you know, they had a bit of a break. They had 3 games on the road. They won those. Then they had a bit of a break. They went to London, had a bit of a break coming back, and then they have had these past 6 games at home with the final game of this home stretch in another couple days. So, to me, the defense, and they're making shots. They're distributing the basketball. Their star players are playing well, and they're making good decisions on the basketball court. There's not too many times that I've seen games over this stretch where I'm like, oh man, they fluked that win out, or you know, what kind of decisions are they making out there? Like, they're playing good basketball. I just think that things are just clicking for them on both ends of the floor.
Yeah, and in comparison to last year, we always talked about, like, it always felt like the offense was feeding their defense. So that, you know, the defensive effort would be there as long as the shots were falling, and we always talked about how that shouldn't be. But this year, yeah, really, the defense is fueling the offense. So, you know, more fast break points, points off turnovers, and then good looks off of second chance points. It's, yeah, like, all that just kind of snowballs. Especially for guys like Pat Patterson and T. Ross, guys that know if they put the effort in on the defensive end, then they don't have to worry about minutes because they'll get them, and then they can feel confident about shots and get easier looks in transition and off of, you know, threes off loose balls and things like that. So it's key.
Yeah,
it all kind of snowballs off the defense and hustle.
Yeah, you're talking about Patrick Patterson, Terrence Ross. Let's talk about Terrence Ross. A guy that kind of struggled last year, kind of big time. Now he's out of the starting lineup. He's coming off the bench. How do you like his game and his role with the team now, as opposed to last year?
I think it's a better spot for him. Just he doesn't have to overthink things, and I think you were alluding to this, previously. Just the fact that in the past it seemed like he almost was a little bit uncomfortable or wouldn't be able to get started the right way. He'd come out and he'd have that starting spot, but he wouldn't be locked in. He wouldn't really be able to generate what the team was looking for coming out of a starting role. So I think there's less pressure. I think that's helped him a lot.
Yeah, I think I just watched it tonight. The first time he got into the game, he's playing tough D, forced the turnover, got the steal, and got a fast break dunk. And then the next play after that, he shot it with no hesitation. So it's like, again, the solid D, hustle, and get into the rhythm off the fast break. Then all of a sudden the hoop looks a lot bigger, and you're getting your touches and feeling good about contributing to the team. Makes a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
No, I was just thinking, it makes me laugh because he's the guy that you say he pisses you off when he does good and when he does bad. Because when he does good, you're like, why can't you do this all the time? But now he is becoming more consistent. So yeah, just hoping he can keep it up. And if he can't keep it up shooting wise, at least he could keep it up on the defensive end. Would be key.
Yeah, like I agree. I mean, I agree with you guys. Like, I think he's always had this pressure. I mean, being in the starting lineup, and now where he doesn't have that same pressure that he did in the past couple of years, then he's kind of looser when he comes with the second unit, and he's with Patrick Patterson, and those guys can like make a huge difference once those guys get rolling and hitting the big shots. And then you got to talk about like a guy like Bismack Biyombo. I mean, another guy that he filled in great for Jonas when Jonas was out, and but then when you have him off the bench, I mean, he's been a great rim protector. What do you guys think about Bismack?
You want to go ahead, Yui?
Awesome. Like everybody talks about DeMar Carroll, but DeMar Carroll's been injured, and I think Biyombo and Corey Joseph, like the effort that those guys bring at both ends, and unselfish, moving the ball, always cutting, like they totally promote the team game, and that's a big difference.
Yep. And just to build on what Yui said, Corey Joseph, he's a facilitator. He'll take shots when he needs to, when he's open. He's got good looks, but he helps get the ball into other people's hands in good spots. And then Biyombo can work hard and be effective out there without the basketball. When Jonas was out, he missed 17 games with the fractured hand. He had a game with 20 rebounds, another one with a 17, I think. Like, he's just able to do a lot of things out there just by his effort and will, and not worried about whether or not he scores. He's just out there doing everything else that the team really needs him to do, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, we always talked about like the second unit last year, but I think the second unit this year is just as good, if not better. I mean, and focus more on the defense. So I think they've got a good group of guys, and then you got guys like Luis Scola in the starting lineup. I mean, he's been awesome as well. So I think, as long as these guys stay healthy, and these guys are playing so well without DeMar Carroll. So I think once DeMar Carroll's back healthy, then I think we'll see a big difference.
Yeah.
So what do we have? What's up next for the Raptors? I don't have the schedule up with me. Coming up.
Yeah. So the Raptors, they've got one more home game. And that's on Saturday against UE's Detroit basketball.
Yeah, I know.
So that's Saturday. And then they've got 6 road games after that, starting on Monday, February 1st in Denver. Then back-to-back, they go Tuesday in Phoenix. Then they've got a couple days next after that, Thursday, February 4th, in Portland. Then they've got the weekend off. Then they go back to Detroit for the Pistons on Monday. Then the 10th, that's the Wednesday, against the Timberwolves. Then there's the All-Star break.
Okay, so that doesn't look
And
too bad, like in
then we
terms
go
of a
to
schedule.
Chicago and Memphis, Chicago. That's it. And the Memphis game on the 21st is actually in Toronto. So there's 6 road games after this home game on Saturday, but it's broken up with the All-Star break where they get to come home, most of them anyway.
Yeah. So, I mean, nothing too crazy. I don't know, is there a tough part of the schedule, like a big tough part that has yet to come, like later on the season that we know of, or have they kind of gone through that already?
Most of the heavy road stretch was at the beginning of the season where they played more games on the road than they did at home.
Right.
And then this upcoming 6-game road trip, that's significant. But from that point on, after the All-Star break, I think it's pretty much a mix of home and road games.
Yeah. So I mean, I think the Raptors are definitely in a good spot, and I mean, I know at the beginning of the season it wasn't like they had the start that they had last year, but I mean, this 10-game run streak has kind of pushed them up in the standings, so they've got a little bit of a buffer in terms of like where they want to be. But I mean, they've been playing so well. I think this is going to be. I think they're going to be in a good spot once they come to the All-Star break.
Yeah. No.
Do you guys anticipate? Do you guys anticipate any moves at the trade deadline? Do you think?
Potentially something minor. Maybe I don't even know who, but I mean, I think they like what they're doing with the Raptors 905 team and moving guys in and out and getting them some reps and stuff, So if anything, I think it might just be like a kind of a minor deal, maybe a vet or something like that, maybe just to try to solidify a position for the hopeful playoff run. But beyond that, I don't anticipate anything major. How about you guys?
I'm hoping they get another guy that has the same letter starting their first name and the same letter starting their last name, so they can put on an alliteration lineup. Because you got DeMar DeRozan, James Johnson, Bismack Biyombo. There's one more. I was thinking about this the other day.
Let me see. There's one more, is there?
Yeah. Because they have 4 and they need 5 to make a lineup. So.
Let me see here. DeMar, James Johnson, Patrick Patterson.
Pat, of course. Yeah. So that would be nice. Good thing I'm not the GM.
Scouring the rumor mills and the alliteration.
Yeah, who would be the good fit? But no, let's see. Right. But seriously though, right? Like they got the hunger from last year. They had the experience. They've got experienced guys. Picked up guys with defense. Picked up guys with playoff and championship experience, both NBA and international. What else do they need at this point?
They need to win in the playoffs.
Just play your cards and see what and the team is built with defense first, which is a playoff kind of thing everybody talks about. So
yeah, I mean that's just I mean, as doesn't matter how well they play in the regular season, it's all going to be if they can get out of the first round of the playoffs, and
especially after last year.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh,
Brooklyn was disappointing enough. It was more heartbreak, right? Like a 7-game series, like came down to like the last possession. But this last year, like, wow.
What were you gonna say, Yui?
I just hope that like we were talking about before, like the defense is there and the offense, the ball is moving. I'm a little scared that the ball might stop moving in the playoffs, and maybe Lowry and DeRozan might try to do too much on an individual level. I hope that doesn't happen, and hope they just continue to trust each other. Again, going back to my Pistons, I found that's what happened in the Flip Saunders years. Like guys that like keep preach ball movement. They won like 60+ games, the most for the for the franchise, and then all of a sudden, when they played the Celtics and the defense tightened up, they stopped moving the ball like completely. And, Rip and Chauncey started trying to do things one-on-one, and that's when it all fell apart. So, hoping that doesn't happen to the Raps. Hoping they just keep trusting each other and do what got them there.
Mm-hmm. Great point.
Yeah, definitely. So let's. That's it for the Raps. Playoffs are still a ways away. But let's talk about some of the Canadian talent, the Wenningtons of the week. We definitely have to give a shout out to Andrew Wiggins, who was selected for the BBVA Rising Star Challenge. He was MVP last year for the same game, so hopefully he can kind of repeat and put a show on for the Canadian fans in Toronto.
His hometown, baby.
Yeah, last year my theory was that, at first we thought Wiggins was going to be in the slam dunk competition, but then Levine was in it, and my theory was he was going to let Levine win it last year, and then he would try to win it in his hometown, in his home country this year. But the way it's sounding, I don't think he's going to be in it. So I don't know. Have you guys heard anything? That was my theory. I still wanted it to come true.
I like the theory. I hope it comes true. I haven't heard any word or rumors as to who's going to be in the dunk contest. So
I know there was a video. I didn't actually watch it with Tass Mellis, and he was talking to Andrew Wiggins about it, but I didn't actually watch the video, so I have to watch it. But no, I haven't heard anything at all. The only thing I heard is in terms of All-Star Weekend in the competitions, I heard Chris Bosh might be in the three-point competition.
Okay.
And I heard there's going to be some big man element to the skills challenge, and with maybe Boogie Cousins, Anthony Davis, and there was one more guy. But it was just rumors. But I'd be interested to see if that's going to be a thing.
Yeah, I like that. I like that idea.
Yeah. So yeah, that's All-Star Weekend. And then any other Canadians want to shout out? Dwight Powell. Also selected to the BBVA Rising Star Challenge, another Canadian. And then guys like Kelly Olynyk, has been playing well for the Celtics.
Yeah.
Corey Joseph obviously for the Raptors. But anybody else you want to shout out?
Yeah, Tristan Thompson's been doing his usual thing, just beasting on the offensive glass. He's putting up a decent season, and with them, much like the Raptors, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the regular season almost doesn't matter. It's and for the Cleveland Cavaliers, it's not even the playoffs. It's do you make it to the finals, and do you get destroyed, or do you actually put up a fight and try and win? That's kind of crazy. There's an 82-game season, and it's everyone wants to press fast forward and get to the playoffs. It's funny. It's funny. Although this NBA season's been fantastic. So many different lines. The basketball's been great, and up-and-coming players. And just look at all the names on the BBVA, USA, and World teams. All those young players, and especially the World team. It's just an awesome time to be a fan of basketball in the NBA.
I'm going to give a general Wennington of the week to the Canadian sports networks. In the past, they've been absolutely terrible in what they're following, but with all the new Sportsnets and TSNs, the Warriors are a hot story. They show all kinds of Warriors games. You get pretty much every Raptors games. They've been showing, I guess it partly goes on ESPN, but we've been able to see Porzingis, the Porzingis story, some Knicks games. So the coverage has been. They even showed some high school prep and Thon Maker.
Yep.
And Kentucky games with Jamal. So yeah, it's been great. Yeah, if you're a basketball fan in Canada, it's a good time for sure.
Yeah, you know what? I got another shout out too. NBA TV Canada. They brought back court surfing.
Yes, they did.
Nikhil Augustine and is it Randy Urban? Is that his name?
Yeah, Randy Urban's done it.
Will Strickland's done
it. Dwayne Watson's involved as well. So yeah, it's neat.
It's nice to see it. Obviously it's not the score. It's not Tim and Sid, but just to be able to just put on NBA TV, and then they flick back and forth through all the close games, and you can just all watch it in one spot. I mean, it's kind of cool. I mean, when I was watching it last night, I mean, you had the Wolves OKC come down to the wire, the Hawks, and what was that game? The Hawks, and that was a close game too. I'm drawing a blank. But yeah, there were just a bunch of close games that were all happening at one time, and just to be able to flick back and forth without you having to like, flick channels or anything, or find different streams.
Yeah, the Hawks and let's see who it was.
Yeah, it was a close game.
Oh, Clippers.
Yeah, Hawks and Clippers.
Yeah, the Clippers had.
The dunk at the end for the win with DeAndre.
Yeah. And it was funny, the OKC and the Wolves game where Zach LaVine was just red hot.
Well, yeah, he went off.
What's that?
He had 30 points.
He had 35 points, but at the end he hit 2 big shots, and then I think they were down about 3, and then he just pulled up Steph Curry style, like he shot a 3-point like five, like he just jacked one, like 5 feet from 3-point line, and it was just a complete airball.
Oh.
Just like, I think he felt like he was Steph Curry.
Feeling himself a little too much. Went too far. One step too far.
Yeah, so I mean, that's gonna be fun. So anyhow, I mean, I guess that's about it we could talk about. All-Star Weekend is coming up in a couple weeks. Sean's gonna be in Toronto. I booked my ticket in Toronto, and Yui.
I did not book my ticket. Mr. D did not pay me enough.
But yeah, yeah, it should be a good weekend. It's going to be interesting that with the game in Toronto. There'll be a lot of events going on, so hopefully we'll get some bonus coverage while we're out there.
Yeah, it should be good. Should be really fun. Especially now that we know that DeMar is in, that will be really exciting for the city.
Yeah. Now, just curious, D-League All-Star Game, how do they get selected? Do you know, like, how it works? Is it just all coach?
I'm not 100% sure. I mean, I'm assuming it's something similar to the way the NBA does it. Not with regards to the voting, though. I'm pretty sure it's all like
coach.
I think it's all
elections.
Yeah, but I'll have to look into it and see. But it's cool because they do the 3-point contest at the beginning of the game, and then at halftime they do the dunk contest, and then they finish out the game. So that's kind of how they have it set up. And it immediately follows the All-Star practice, the NBA All-Star teams practice in the morning. That's at 11 a.m., and then the D-League All-Star game starts at 2 p.m. So it's a cool precursor to the Saturday night events.
Yeah, and none of the guys were like Bruno or Baby Nogueira I wouldn't think would be part of the game, right? Because
I don't think so. I think they have to be. I don't know the rules per se, but I believe that the players have to have played a certain number of games.
So many games, yeah, I would think, yeah.
Already be assigned. Like, obviously, they are moving players back and forth all the time between the Raptors 705 team and the Raptors, but I think that the player who is participating in the D-League game has to at least currently be assigned to that team and has played a certain number of games and minutes and stuff.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah, I was just curious.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's it for the podcast. Be sure to visit the blogs, hiphoopjunkies.com and hoopheadsnorth.com. Follow us on Twitter at Romiakino, at Yui the Jock, at Jean Francois. This is episode 81. We out.